Hi everyone, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and I thought I would start with a song. Row, row, row your boat back to where you came. Your rules don't work, you bunch of jerks. You're ruining the game. That is my thoughts about Richard Masters and the Bastards and the way they've ran the FFP and PSR rules for the Premier League. Yes, it's all going to shit and not working. And that is the story doing the rounds, and that is what I'm talking about right now. So apparently, they're looking to ditch the old FFP rules and PSR rules, and the points deduction in particular, in favour of a luxury tax, very similar to the NBA style that they use over in America. And to Newcastle United fans, this is actually music to our ears, to be brutally honest with you. So basically how this would work, rather than points deduction, if you go over the current FFP rules of 109 million losses and you get points deducted like Everton have and Forest have in this last year, you would be charged a luxury tax, which would then be redistributed amongst the rest of the league. So a little bit like Chuck Berry said every night before he said 1, 2, 3, 4, the Premier League will come with Newcastle United and they'll say,
pay me my money.
And when you're worth 500 billion, we'll say no fucking bother, and the Saudis will make it rain and will pay your luxury tax, no worries whatsoever. I'm all in favour for this, to be honest with you. And why have the Premier League rode back? Well, to be honest with you, they rode back because the whole planning of this has been fucking disastrous from the start. This was only ever designed to look after the greedy 5 or 6 clubs at the top of the league, and that's exactly what these fuckers have done. So everybody's kicking off about it. Top players are threatening to leave because their wages are going to be restricted. The likes of La Liga will be sniffing around Haaland and players like that, and Bruno in terms of our players, and Isaac and all these other players. And the Premier League are realising that by putting these ridiculous archaic rulings in, that they're actually going to make that league less appealing to people to play in, and they'll lose their status as the league in the world of football for players to come and play in. So they're realising that they're damaging the product. Imagine that. Restricting competition has damaged your product. Who'd have thought it, eh, Richard? You fucking dick. That's what I would say about that. I mean, this is just no wonder this has happened. You know, the rest of the clubs are sick as fuck. Apparently 17 out of 20 are wanting to lobby for change in this particular situation, and I can't blame them, because it only takes 14 clubs anyway to make these rules go through. And the way it sits at the minute, you've got Manchester City, you've got obviously Chelsea in particular throwing money around like confetti, loads of charges there. Manchester City have reportedly got 115 charges, and they're doing nothing about that, because what they're going to do, relegate City, get rid of Pep Guardiola, the most marketable manager in world football, get rid of Erling Haaland? I don't think so. De Bruyne? No fucking chance. So they back themselves into a corner here, and that's exactly why they're going to have to react the way they are. But what does it mean for Newcastle United? More importantly, you're a Newcastle fan, that's why you've tuned into this, I'm sure. And it means for us that we will be able to go out and spend money in the transfer market, and if we do breach these rules, we will just be charged a tax fee. Now, I've been basking in the salt of the greedy 6 fans already. I've seen some brilliant posts that just made me smile ear to ear. One saying, well, that's me, I'm giving up on football. You know, what's the point? You know, Klopp's leaving. Newcastle United are going to spend 500 million every transfer window and only get fined 5 million. Football's dead. But you know what? Fucking get me a ticket for the wake then, mate, because I'm going to be there with bells on. If Newcastle United spend 500 million quid every single summer, we will fucking walk this league. But we won't do that. We're not going to be stupid. We're not going to do that FIFA lineup that everyone seems to say that we are going to do. You know, when we first got taken over, you could see that with Ronaldo and Messi and Neymar and all that bollocks. We're not going to do that. We're just going to spend it wisely. But we need to be able to spend. This squad got spent, you know, what, 200-300 million quid on it. It had to have 200 or 300 million quid spent it because it was fucking dog shit. If you want to go and look how good the Newcastle United squad that Eddie Howe inherited was, go back and look at Paul Dummett's fucking RKO against Everton, and that explains to you the level of quality that was in this squad before we bought the likes of Kieran Trippier, Bruno Guimaraes, Sven Botman, Alexander Isak, Harvey Barnes, Tonali, you name it. Fucking last one hasn't even played because he's been suspended for 10 months. You know, Joe Linton was here already, and Eddie Howe turned him into a brilliant player. But as it stands at the minute, because of these ridiculous rules, we would struggle to even pay Joe Linton what he's worth, and he's worth a fortune to this club right now because he's one of the most important players that we have. So I'm all in favour of these rules getting changed. I hope this goes through. I hope they get rid of this stupid point deduction. It's stopping teams even competing. You know, the likes of Newcastle, the likes of Aston Villa. Even if you're a promoted team coming up, what's the fucking point in getting promoted to the Premier League? Because you can't compete. Look at Forest. They came up, they had a whole squad for the loan players. They had to buy a whole squad. They did that. They breached the rules. They've got done. Now they've got a points deduction and they're fighting back at the bottom of the league. It's ridiculous. It really, really is. They need to get rid of this. They need to sort this out. If the clubs are financially sound enough to pay that fine, like we are, then charge the fine. You know, and you can help pay for clubs who are maybe struggling a bit more financially and have to be a little bit more stringent. But Newcastle United, owned by the richest people in the world with 500 billion, should not be in a situation where they're talking about selling Bruno Guimaraes or Alexander Isak to either a top 4 Premier League team or a European team to fund player transfers. It's fucking ridiculous. Get these rules changed. I'm all in favour of the luxury tax. Bring in the money from the PIF and let's go and buy some quality players and compete at the right end of the table. That's me done with my thought rant of the day on this. Let us know what you guys think about it. I'm sure you feel the same way I do. Smash a like, subscribe, help get us to 7,000 subs. I'll be really interested to see this moving on. Hopefully, Mark and I will be coming and bringing you a video when this does go through, because it will be very interesting, something for Newcastle if it does. Have a great day wherever you are, everyone. We'll catch you later. Cheers.